Happy Hump Day, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSports. We are your daily dose of quickie and handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and back from his brief BetSports golf respite, Mr. Andy Molitor, sporting his very handsome Waste Management Phoenix Open, I assume?
Yeah, the P is for Phoenix, and yeah, I got this down there at the old merch tent. Comfy hat, real stylish. I'm excited to add to the golf hat repertoire this year. I'm gonna
It's a nice
buy. I'm
focus.
gonna buy. I'm gonna buy it only from horrible events. So maybe I should. Jesus, maybe I should get a Honda one. This is kind of turning out to be a horrible event. Used to be a pretty good event, guys, but it is the bye week, as I explained, and speaking of bye weeks, we'll get right into it because we started a minute or two late here, but it's still the NBA All Star break somehow. I'd forgotten that this is like a week long thing. NBA will return tomorrow. There'll be some fun angles. Maybe we should highlight the top 10 dumb tweets of like, this is why I'm betting this because this team is rested. And it's like, yeah, the market doesn't know that there was an All Star game. God damn it! I said we were gonna jump right into it, but did you see the tweet with the TikTok of the guy who's like he was betting a bunch of parlays with like the game to be tied after 20 minutes in soccer. Like he parlayed like five, six of them, and his TikTok was like, "Did you know the clock doesn't stop in soccer?" I was dead. I'm like, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, he's like, literally, he's like, the ball goes out of bounds. They don't stop the clock. There's a goal scored. They don't stop it. Nothing stops the clock in soccer. Like, I'm just parlaying all these first. It's like first 20 minutes score to be tied. It's like, yeah, and you know what made me mad? It's like, don't spoil a good a good life hack like that for everybody by putting it on TikTok because no way the sports books know that the most
No,
popular sport in the world doesn't stop their clock for
just
out
one
of
of the
bounds and
basic
stuff,
rules
guys.
of
So
a game that has like a dozen rules, really. Like,
yeah, there's not a ton of like the only thing confusing is offside, but regardless, we will be back to NBA tomorrow. And as I brought this up a few days ago, I was excited about this. I think it was something Drew and I actually touched on last year, and then I ended up maybe you were on. You came on and talked to NBA with us a little one time. Maybe it was that episode, but for sure, I for some reason found some in-season win totals. I believe it was All Star break last year, and there was a couple that had some value. I got excited again. I asked you if you would look into that, and not only did you look into that, but you bet some, which is exciting. And it's all one way traffic on these bets.
Win Total Wednesday is back, and we're going to have an underfull kind of second half of the season. One of these is a bit of a bummer because we actually bet over on one of these teams to start the season. So, RIP to our Chicago Bulls bets. But, as I look at this market, the first thing you do, Andy, and I got a little scared because I kind of forgot that books do this. So, I add up all my variances, right? Because the variances should all equal zero. That's just kind of a good double check. Of
Yeah.
course not, because the books have regular season wins. They have 5 more wins in the market than they actually should. There is only X amount of wins that are possible in an NBA season. I believe the number is 1,230 wins in the season. If you add up what we've got here, the books have 1,235. So, definitely some value on a lot of unders here. I looked through a couple that I left off. I was actually close to betting an over on the Lakers. Just a really, really sweet schedule for them the next couple weeks. They do have to play some tough teams, but have some nice long stretches at home. That team is interesting. So that was just missed for me. Our Orlando Magic, I think they can actually do better than the number that's posted, but as I start to look at it, they have really almost no chance of even making the play-in tournament at this point. So I wonder if they kind of shut it down. I stayed away from there. But again, 3 under looks. We'll start with the Charlotte Hornets. And speaking of teams that have nothing really to play for, this is a team coming into the season. I know some people thought might be plucky and fun. LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, some nice young pieces. And then Miles Bridges did something no one should ever do and will not be playing NBA basketball anytime soon, if ever again. So you lose basically your second best player for nothing before the start of the season. LaMelo Ball's been hurt. Gordon Hayward is a shell of himself. Terry Rozier just can't do it by himself. And they find themselves at this point, they're 17-43. They're a game or two out of the bottom three, if you will, for the league, for the top three amount of ping pong balls. And I forget what the exact numbers are, but the top 3 teams all get the same probability. So that's kind of what you're pushing for. And I see no reason for them to change things up here. It's a bad team. Even if they tried to win with the rest of this schedule, I just really can't see it here. As I went through and kind of picked through their games, everything, I had them only at 20 wins here. So there's a 24.5 out there. If you see 23.5, that's fine too. 22.5, if you have a chance to bet that. Again, not a lot of options, but just about every regulated book has these hung. There are some teams that miss it, that are missing. I forget which book had the Hornets, but just one, maybe two spots had the Hornets. Some teams are on, some teams are off. Now, we did bet the Bulls regular season win total over before the season. That is not going to win. It wasn't a terrible shape as of a couple weeks ago, but the injuries continue to pile up. Lonzo Ball, who was supposed to be back, kind of before the All-Star break, is now out for the rest of the season. And it's bad. The Bulls have really struggled to close out games, almost the exact opposite of what we've seen the last couple of years with this team. And as I look at the rest of their schedule, again, hanging basically outside of the play-in tournament right now in the Eastern Conference. And, they're 2 games back. And I don't know how they close up those 2 games. They've got some games against Toronto. Maybe that could help a little bit. But we know Lonzo Ball's coming back, and I wonder who else they're going to shut down at this point. As I started to look at their schedule, I had this number. I made this 34 wins, closer to 33, honestly. So 36.5. Let's go under there, see if we can kind of avoid the Polish middle, if you will, Andy. And then the San Antonio Spurs. Speaking of teams that are playing for nothing, the Spurs here, they have, let me see just quickly how many wins they have at this point. They have 14 wins. They would have to win 7 more games this season to get over this number. I can't even see 3-4 games where they might even be favored, let alone actually have a chance to win. This number is nuts. So grab under 20.5 here, even 19.5. Again, I had them right at 16 wins. So 20.5 looks good. Basically, whatever you have under the Spurs, we know that they're just going to be calmly and quietly losing games whenever they have a chance. And again, even if they do try to win, it is not a good basketball team. There is no big men left here. Some of their best wing players continue to be hurt and kind of shut down. So let's stack up some unders. And again, as you're looking at these, be careful. There are too many wins in the market. So I would be a little hesitant towards some overs. And again, lean towards unders. And again, a couple other unders. I know people just kind of blindly want to say maybe Portland under, they should tank. Houston under, they should tank. Those numbers actually look pretty close to me. But, if you wanted to kind of do a tank under parlay, I wouldn't mind that at all.
I like a tank under parlay. I didn't know if that was available to me. I'm gonna hunt these down. I feel like I have to bet these illegal books. Maybe BetOnline has these. They were tricky to find last year.
BetOnline has them, but the limits aren't great. Bovada has them.
Oh, really? So there's a couple places. All right.
BetUS might have them too. I didn't check there.
Kevin Hilmers says OKC to make the play-in tournament plus 195.
I can't talk you out of that bet. It's so close. Again, they're a team that doesn't have much to play for, but they play hard every night. They're half a game ahead of Utah and Portland. They're a game and a half ahead of the Lakers. They're only half a game behind the Warriors. They're only 2 games out of 6th place here. So I can't tell you not to bet that. I didn't do too much work looking at it, but that's probably a little big.
I like that. I feel like we did one of those last year, and there was some worry that they were actually going to get the 6th seed. I think there was they almost did too good. I can't remember if it was who was the top seed in the West? Was it the Timberwolves?
The 10th seed.
No, who was the 7th seed?
I think the Clippers.
I think it was
years ago.
Was
Sorry,
the Timberwolves Clippers game? Where was that? Was that in Minnesota?
The Timberwolves were the 7th seed. You're correct. Yeah. The play-in champion Timberwolves. We need them to do that. The play-in
champs. Oh God, I kind of want them in the play-in game again. That was fun.
Kevin, actually, I have OKC in the play-in tournament right now, so plus 195. Let's do it.
Fun fact: really bad storm that night. Did not get to watch the end of that Clippers game. Had to follow the last 5 minutes on my phone to figure out if we were getting because I remember I was going to go to the playoff series. I did end up.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a big pain in my ass. It's like let's just win this game so I can get some home games, have some fun. Let's ride and let's spin over to college basketball where I've been hot in opposite world. a scuffling season, and I just haven't had enough time. I really think I might just have to give up NFL. Just stop betting NFL. Stop doing NFL content
Yeah.
because
Okay.
okay, but there's just so much to do.
Just
I
stop
wanted to.
lying.
I know. I just wanted to dig deeper into totals this year. I haven't had time. I'm. I have a big section of the rest of my week and next week cleared out for conference tournament stuff. Hopefully, it's the face deep into college basketball now. But I did have one today that I like a little bit in the Atlantic 10. Is this I'm gonna have to check the coach. Is this Frank Martin's team? Is this like South Carolina Final Four Frank Martin? Yeah, it is. Massachusetts.
Why would I know that?
The Minutemen, not just I call it a punk band, I suppose. Not just a band anymore. The UMass Minutemen plus 8.5. I am in strong disagreement with the market. I have this as like a 6.5. I thought when I pulled my numbers, when I scrape, it scrapes from one particular site, giving me the lines. Sometimes they're not perfect. Sometimes I'll say, "Oh, I'd bet +4." Then I get to the sports books and it's already +3. This is the opposite. Mine said +8. I'm like, I bet a +8, and everywhere is 8.5. So market coming in maybe a little bit the other way so far. We'll see how this closes. Obviously, the game's not for a while, but UMass, you know what? If nothing else, they're fast. High ass tempo, fastest tempo in the Atlantic 10. Really good offensive rebounding team. The offense, or the defense, excuse me, leaves a little bit to desired. They had a pretty bad stretch there in the middle of the season, kind of knocking them down in the market. But they had a nice get right game against the Rhode Island, boy, Dukes, the Rhode Island
Rhode Island
Rams.
Rams?
Rams. I don't know why I couldn't say that. This is tough. This is one of the toughest spots. Dayton is one of the best teams. This is their toughest remaining team. It's basically like Dayton, VCU. Those are your tough conference matchups. But this is at home, getting quite a few points at home against a Dayton team who's again all over and over and over sloppy with the ball, turns the ball over quite a bit. It's going to be a weird stylistic game because they run a really up tempo offense. They one of the shortest, average possessions against Dayton, who is the exact opposite, quite a bit slower. But Dayton, not a great 3-point shooting team, not a good free throw shooting team. Like I said, turns the ball over a lot, doesn't force turnovers. And like I said, I have this at a 6. So eat, pray, love. Let's go UMass, Zoomass for the locals. And that's it for tonight. I have no idea what time this game is. Per usual. I do know that we have some afternoon tennis, so you got nothing. Nothing in the Middle East. We're going to stick to Mexico.
Yeah, again, there's all the matches are kind of finishing up right now. The market has just been betting Petra Kvitova. This match was supposed to have started by the end of the show, but looks like they're up after the Sabalenka match, which should finish shortly. If you're looking for something right now, take Barbara Krejcikova. I'm looking at +110. Have her actually as kind of a small favorite here over Petra Kvitova. I've already bet that outright, so I'll maybe play that a little bit smaller. But Krejcikova +110 in Dubai if you're looking for some afternoon action. But yeah, no lines for tomorrow yet. Just kind of a tough time zone and time area for us to do this stuff. But thank God they're still in Mexico in Merida. Couple plays I have there. One favorite and one spread here. No totals, oddly enough. It seems that I'm all totals or no totals. Yeah. It's very interesting. But two plays this afternoon. We'll start with one that'll be around 4 o'clock this afternoon. Kimi Burrell goes up against Wang Zhiyu. The market has this -110 each way. I have Wang here, a pretty solid favorite, closer to -135 or so. Much more solid player. I think Kimmy here getting a little too much credit now at this point. She did qualify here, which generally helps you kind of in the first round, but we're around in here. Wong has been in town for a couple days, has had plenty of time to get used to the environment, play with the courts. So I don't really, value the qualifying that much once you kind of get past that first round. So give me Wong here, -110. I think it's a nice spot for her. And Alicia Parks, -145. Some value there if you just want to play the money line. I had her closer to -165, but like the spread here, was able to get -2 here at -110. generally would try to sell this out to 2.5 or 3, but smaller tournament, a lot going on this week. Didn't really see that option available. Too many books. So -2 at -110 is great. Again, if you have the option at 2.5 at maybe +100 or 3 at a nice plus number, go ahead and scoop that up. And let me know because I wasn't able to find that. But yeah, 2 short favorites here: Wang Jiyu and Alicia Parks in Merida.
Merida. I like that. Give that a nice little flair. North and east of that, in the Jupiter area, somewhere around there. I'm trying to think of the actual city this is in. It doesn't matter. It's in Florida. Honda Classic is going to be underway in the morning. I have some outrights. I already talked about Ben Griffin, and again, it's not like they'll ever sponsor us because we where we're at, we're only going to be taking on sponsorship from like legal sports books. So I guess I can shit talk my bookie a little. And we did. I mean, we did last week because of the whole, or before the Super Bowl, where everybody found out it was going to be bitch better have my money. We bet it there. They didn't take huge limits, but enough. And it's funny, they took the market down and then reopened it without the song that everybody was betting. Like, here's a bunch of losers bet into this. Real shitty move by those shitheads. But I do want to give them credit. Love the money bags. This is better than, like, everybody should adopt this because this is more addicting than any SGP. So I did bet Ben Griffin at 66-1, but I did my one money bag click. And if you don't know what that is, you put in the amount you're willing to bet. And they'll say, I'll give you any golfer in the field randomly at 105-1.
It's so
and
much
then you
fun.
hit it and it spins and it spins. It's so stupid. So stupid. But I got Ben Griffin again.
Brilliant.
So I have more Ben Griffin at 105. I did it for Liv as well. I got Mark Leishman. Not as good. Mark Leishman 33-1. Rough. So I will watch both tournaments because I did find out I have the CW. We'll see if the snowstorm affects that. But one matchup I wanted to talk about heading into this is a couple of golfers that are playing some pretty shitty golf right now. And I'm betting one is going to be a slightly less shitty than the other one. Cam Davis over Harris English for the tournament -109. Harris English has come back. We've seen middling results. He had hip surgery. It's funny. There's this joke that goes around the real golf hardos. Harris English and Hudson Swafford, same person. They kind of look the same. They both went to Georgia about the same time. They both live on Sea Island, I think. They're the same person. You never see them in the same room. But it's funny, Hudson, I feel bad. It's funny this guy's super injured and has to have surgery. But Hudson Swafford is having the same hip surgery as Harris English. It gets weirder and weirder. That's the only conspiracy theory I subscribe to. But this is Harris English. He did have hip surgery last summer. He was able to come back and I mean, you just go look. He missed a good chunk of the spring. I think he played the Sony and then didn't play again to the Memorial. Came back, played a lot of the swing season. Had some okay results in like September, October, but it's been kind of rough up until last week. And I think he's getting a little too much credit for a top 12 finish at the Genesis because he gained 7.7 strokes on the field last week. 8.8 of them were on the putting green. Now, I know the number I said second was bigger because he literally lost strokes in all the other categories. He just putted so incredibly well compared to the field. A little bit around the green, I take that back. But tee to green, off the tee and approach, he lost strokes. Still was able to have a pretty good week at the Genesis because he just putted his nuts off. And I don't see that coming repeatedly, especially as we head towards a completely different type of putting surface as we go to the U.S. Southeast. So just long-term form sort of stuff. You look at anything Harris English based, it's going to be pretty poor. Short-term form, pretty poor outside of strokes gained putting, strokes gained short game. So don't see that continuing, or at least continuing at that level as we move over to the Bermuda grass section of the world. And then, Cam Smith. I wish I got Cam Smith over him at this price. Cam Smith will be golfing in Mexico on the Live Tour this week. But Cam Smith, much, much better. Fuck's sakes, Andy. Cam Davis, much, much, much a better ball striker, much better off the tee. And a weird one that shouldn't matter, but somehow has, despite having to club down on so many of these holes. people with really good driving distance have performed well here. So another one where he's top 10 in driving distance in this field, and Harris English is not. It sounds like the I'm Chevy chasing you're not. Harris English much shorter off the tee, worse on par fours, worse on bogey avoidance, and worse on just approach. So getting him at a cheap price here, I like this one quite a bit. This is a full tournament matchup, minus 109. And yes, the live guys wouldn't play this event either. Although Danny Lee, who just joined the live tour, did not withdraw from this event until like yesterday. You went to Bovada, you could bet him in both events. He was listed in both Mexico and Florida. I tried to parlay it, did not happen for me. Pat Perez probably would ship this year, right, Cal? My gambling camp buddy. And then one quick Champions League bet, just because I got.
Are we nervous for doing this as like a serious actual play? It usually goes better when it's off the cuff. You've been thinking about this.
You know what? I wanted to bet Milan. So this is the process that I went through. And this is all in like 5 minutes. This is not Andy spent all day jotting stuff down. I wanted to bet a Champions League match. I didn't like the other one. I said I went and looked at Milan's like last few matches, and they did some, as the kids call it, shuffling, rotation. Like they didn't play all their best players for all the minutes that they normally would have in the previous match that would have been in their league play. So you are seeing a fresher team here. And I said, should I bet their money line? It's minus 140. Should I bet them minus 0.75? I thought about it. Should I bet them over 1.5 for their team total? They had a lot of low scoring matches where they had a lot of 1-0 wins, a lot of lower scoring matches where their defense played well and they just got on the board once. So I ended up going with an Inter Milan plus under 3.5. This is a prop you should be able to find anywhere. And I bet this at Bookmaker. So this is something that is pretty widespread. And if you have legal books, I mean, you can parlay anything the hell you want. Put that together if you really need to. But I got plus 125 in there, looking for them to win it in a low-scoring, cagey affair. This is this afternoon. I think what is the other match? Oh, the other match is City versus Leipzig. And I gotta say that wrong. It's Leipzig. You gotta say the
Why
I
is the total only 2.5? That's a trap. Traps don't exist, but should that be 3? When do Man City totals ever less than 3?
So it's an away match. It is in, it is in. It's not at the Etihad. It is in. I'm trying to think. This is Germany. Yeah, I always mix up the two RB teams. This is definitely in Germany. So and it's the first leg. Sometimes you do see these teams, like if they're up in the away leg, you can kind of call off the dogs because at that point the tie is over. Like if City were up 1-0 late or 2-0, you don't really have to press because you have the home match coming up where you're probably going to be a massive favorite, and at that point, let's worry more about catching Arsenal. Not like City. It's not like City. City cannot win. City cannot win. Pep cannot win this. Like, this is a silly match to even have. City should just forfeit this match, go home, worry about the domestic league. Like, they can't win with Pep. He's just not going to do this. It's a thing. It's a weird curse. I don't understand why.
They're out of the domestic league, right? Because of all the cheating with the money. So, like, this is all they have left.
Who knows if they get a point deduction?
I like this look-ahead angle. You're talking to me to Leipzig. I can't tell if I should just be Leipzig plus 0.5 or maybe bet the draw or maybe just Leipzig money line. Plus 320.
I thought about the draw or just an under. But in what world am I excited about taking an under in a Man City match? Maybe if we see lineups and it's a little weak, you can talk me into it. But and Jeremy, on Bookmaker, I just went to the match and expanded it, scrolled way down. If you do a Control F, just type in 3.5. It'll first come up on 3.5 cards for one of the teams, and then or 3.5 cards, and then you'll find it lower. So Kevin says he took RB plus a half goal on the Asian line. I don't hate that too. Yeah, De Bruyne, KDB out. I guess that probably matters, seeing how he's one of the better players in the world.
Somebody let me parlay Leipzig here with that Oklahoma City to make the play-in.
Jesus Christ.
Do the Kevin Hilmers parlay.
Off the rails. I love it. So a little Champions League afternoon sweat for me. I'm excited about it. So if you are excited about the Champions League,
And you should be.
and they have a really good anthem too. If you have YouTube, if you have
The
YouTube,
time not.
it's a good song. Go find that if you need something to listen to. So
That was a good
with
song.
that, we'll be back tomorrow for some Thursday gambling. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. Good luck to all you and your bets, and have fun. Good luck. See ya.